Dobson, our Vice President of Human Resources. She has a presentation for us to go over some pertinent topics that we have for everybody today. So with that being said, Jenny, take it away.
Thanks. Hello. Okay, it works. Awesome. Hi, everybody. Thanks, Tommy, for introducing me. My name is Jenny Dobson. I'm the Vice President of Human Resources here at Cornerstone. Thank you all for coming. I have shown up to a couple of these town halls, and now I finally get to share some things with you from an HR perspective. So I'm going to introduce you to a couple folks on the HR team. I'm going to give you some updates on what's going on in the HR world, and then we've got a couple other things planned for the end of the session. So want to introduce you to a couple folks that are part of the corporate human resources team. The first gal here is Chi Yang. She is our HR payroll and benefits manager, so she processes everyone's paychecks. So we do what we can to keep her very happy because we do not want to mess with that. She's been in the HR department for several years, been with Cornerstone for probably close to 10 years. And then we have Mai Lore, who is our HR generalist and recruiter. She primarily recruits for our South region campuses, so down in Texas, Florida, Georgia. She's primarily responsible for that. And then we have Bang Bang, who is another HR generalist, mostly supports the North region. And he has been with Cornerstone for, what did we figure, 12 years? Or roughly something like that? Okay. Forever, yeah. And about HR for 4 or 5 years. So if you're ever emailing the HR email or calling us, it's one of us 4 that you're most likely interacting with. And then shout out to Danny Beckman, who most of you know. He's our recruiter for the North region here. And then Tommy, shout out, honorary recruiter. Tommy oversees a lot of our special events here in Minnesota, and now in kind of that off season, he'll be helping with recruiting. And a little bit more about my story and my journey with Cornerstone. I doubt that many people wake up and they say, I want to work in the parking industry for the rest of my life. And so I have a little bit of a story to share about that. I actually did start as a cashier in the booth in Yellow Ramp over on West Bank back in 2003. So if I did my math right, that was like 19 years ago, which is crazy. At the time, I was going to school at the U of M. This was a great part-time job for me to have. The parking operation at that time at Fairview was actually run by a company called Lanier Parking. And so I worked with Lanier as a cashier, a valet. I did customer account rep in the parking office as well for a little bit. And then in 2010, Cornerstone took over the parking operations at Fairview. So there's a gentleman that worked at Lanier. His name was Jay McCulloch. You might recognize that name as Cornerstone's founder and CEO. So he had worked with Lanier. I had heard about this guy. He seemed like a decent enough guy. He started Cornerstone. They took over Fairview. And so I was like, yeah, this is kind of a good gig. I'll see what this is. I was still finishing up college and didn't think it would be a long-term thing, but I ended up working with Cornerstone with Jay at the 2010 PGA Championship event out in Wisconsin. And that was the most crazy, exhilarating, exhausting, challenging, stressful 10 days of my life. But it also showed me that this was a place that I wanted to work, and a person that I wanted to work for, and a leadership team I wanted to work for. It was at this tournament that I saw servant leadership in action. I saw leading by example in action. I saw integrity in action. And I was like, this might not be a bad place to stick around for a little bit and see what happens. So I worked with Cornerstone as an operations manager when they first kind of came on to Fairview. And then about 8 years ago, I transitioned into human resources. So I kind of reached that point where I was like, this is a company, this is a career that I want to pursue and be part of. And part of what that experience showed me in just my years here has shown me that this is the place that I want to be part of. I believe in what we're doing. Parking and Ambassador is just kind of the means in which we're able to serve people, and that we're able to take care of people on various levels in our interactions with the patients and visitors and customers that are coming in. And whether you guys recognize it or not, you make a difference in a lot of people's lives every single day. Whether that gets recognized on a shout out, we may never know all the lives that you guys have touched, but it does make a difference. And I feel very proud and privileged to be part of that and to help represent an organization like this. And I look around the room and I see a vast majority, probably over 90% of our leadership right now has started as a frontline employee and then been promoted into a leadership type role. And that is what we love to do. If there are people here who kind of buy into what we're doing in terms of a servant leadership mentality and wanting to help other people, we love to promote from within, and it's exciting to see that growth that we've had over the last couple of years with that. So that's my story. Thank you for listening to that. But yes, I have not woken up and said I want to be in the parking industry, as a career, but I'm really glad that that's what I'm doing right now. Okay, got a couple HR updates for you. This is huge for us in the HR world. We have reached over 500 employees collectively as an organization, so that's here and including the people that work for us down in our South region as well. And you guys make up well over half of that in the North region. It's a lot of people, it's a lot of employees. So this is exciting to see too, because we, at the peak of the pandemic, we were less than 100 employees. So over the last couple of years, to see how much we have grown has been really encouraging and very exciting. So nice job on continuing to serve people and offer the services that we do, because our clients are seeing that and they're asking us to add more, which is fantastic. So I appreciate everything you're doing. It's something to be celebrated. Open enrollment. I've had a couple of questions on this, so good timing. Open enrollment applies to medical insurance benefits as well as dental and vision insurance benefits. So for those of you who have been here, let's say with at least 60 days or more, you've probably been offered insurance benefits if you're a full-time employee, so 30 hours a week or more. And so you've enrolled or declined certain coverages that we're offering. And so with open enrollment, you will have an opportunity to enroll or decline other coverages that will be effective January 1st. So it's your time to be able to change, to update, to either add or decrease certain coverages that you want. That will be effective then for January 1st. So we anticipate being able to roll that out, that communication and information out the end of end of November, early December. And it'll be an online enrollment process, which I think most of you are probably familiar with. It's called EASE. It's one more platform to sign into. I'm sorry. I'm trying to streamline that. But we will have people on campus. Vang has been awesome about going site to site to be able to help people either enroll or make changes or decline coverages. So we'll have that assistance available as well. We are going to be offering health insurance, medical, and dental to Job Class 6 employees like we did this last year, so that has not changed. We are in negotiations with our broker right now for the insurance carrier. So we have not established any sort of premium adjustments or deduction adjustments yet, but that will be part of the communication that we send out here in the next month or so. Any questions on open enrollment? Okay. Here's a big one, 401k. Where's Marlon? He asked about this. So 401k, I believe Jay was here a couple months ago, maybe? Okay, and had touched on this as well and sort of gauge people's interest in 401k. So it is still in progress. It is making probably the most progress that we've had in a long time since we've been considering implementing a 401k program. With 401k, we know that having a matching program to accompany it is a huge benefit and incentive for employees to participate. So that means that if you decide to enroll in a 401k with us, you would determine how much you want to put into it, and then Cornerstone would match a certain percentage of that. So you'd be getting free money put into your 401k, which is great. That's a huge benefit, and that's something that we want to be able to do for our employees. There are a lot of, believe it or not, regulations and rules that accompany that, and it also is a significant cost factor for Cornerstone. So we're trying to navigate all of that and understand all of that so that we do it correctly the first time and don't have to make any changes and go back on it in the future. So we've been working with some people who are very knowledgeable about that process and making decisions slowly but surely, just based on the information that we're receiving. So our goal is to ensure that we put together a robust plan that benefits our employees and making sure we get it right the first time. I do not have a timeline on that. I know that will be the next question. Any questions on 401k at all? Okay. Training and development. So we have done a couple surveys throughout the last year, both for North Region and South Region, and this continues to be a hot topic. And we know that it is something that people value, that they feel like they are equipped, that they are knowledgeable, they are confident in their role and responsibilities that they have in their positions. And you guys know better than I do what your training experience was when you first started, and what's been happening as an ongoing training for different changes that are happening within your roles and responsibilities. Screeners, I think of you guys, I mean, the stuff that you have been tasked with and things that have changed in your roles, that's no small thing. That's nothing to go unnoticed. That's a very significant change to how that role initially started out. So I appreciate that all of you have been flexible and adapting and understanding that we're trying to accommodate what Fairview is wanting us to do to better support the patients and visitors that we're interacting with. So we have, it's early stages, but I feel like we have a much better platform and structure in place for how we're going to implement some more on-the-job training and what we call like operational training. So just the specifics that you need to know and understand to feel comfortable and confident in what you're doing in your position. So we have a framework for that, and we have some people in place that will help us implement that and make sure that there's consistency across the board for all the different positions that we have. Not only initially as a new employee, but then what that ongoing training looks like as your job may change or evolve over time. We also have safety training initiatives. Where's Ryan? I'm going to introduce Ryan. He is our new risk manager, which sounds like a scary title, but risk manager. He started a couple weeks ago, and his main responsibility is to handle all the claims that we have coming in. So for valets or shuttles or whatever incidents may happen, Ryan's responsibility is to investigate those and come to a resolution regarding those claims. The other part of Ryan's responsibility is putting together a safety program, which again, I know part of the training is how to park a car safely. Let's really try very hard not to damage it. Thank you. That's kind of what we're used to. But we're realizing that with how rapidly that valet world could change and increase soon, that we need to have a better safety training mechanism in place to help prevent incidents from happening. We are human. We know that they're going to happen. We know that it's just a natural part of the job and it's a risk that we're involved in, but wanting to be as preventative as possible to help protect you guys and to help protect our customers' vehicles as well. So that will be coming as well under the training and development umbrella. And then with leadership development, some of you may have heard of our Path to Leadership program that's been talked about, or I did put out a little thing about it a couple weeks ago on Paylocity. The Path to Leadership program has been around for a couple years, and we really wanted to focus on, the intent of it was to focus on our frontline employees who are interested in leadership type of roles, whether it was here or elsewhere, it didn't really matter, but just that if people were interested in leadership, that they could be part of this program. It's had varying degrees of, I guess, success, and trying to measure that or gauge that is sometimes complicated, but what we've realized is that we want to make it even better, and we haven't fully identified how to do that yet. So instead of just doing a program just for the sake of doing a program, we wanted to put a pause on it for now and then really evaluate what it looks like to make it even better and to make it something more robust and that was actually impactful across all of our locations, because it was kind of centralized to North Region here. So a work in progress with our Path to Leadership program. It's not to say it's not coming back, we're just pausing it for the time being until we revamp some of the intentions behind that program. And then the other thing that we shifted focuses to is focusing on leadership development for our assistant manager and manager level people. We have not done a very good job consistently of doing that in the past, and we're realizing how necessary that is. And that benefits all of our employees to have people in leadership positions who are feeling equipped, they're confident in their abilities and what being a leader means. And really it's about the leadership aspect and not the management aspect. Yes, they have the manager in their title, but it's more about the leadership components within that framework. So that's our plan at this point for the leadership development initiatives that we have, but we want to add more, and we want to re-implement that Path to Leadership program for our frontline employees. We're just taking a pause on that for now. So any questions about training development? Okay, all right, thank you guys. I do have one more super exciting thing to share. How many of you have heard of emotional intelligence, or EQ? Handful, okay. All right, so emotional intelligence is, I don't want to say completely opposite of your IQ or intelligence quota, but they're kind of tied together, but emotional intelligence focuses on, guess what, your emotions. And the way that I look at it is your emotional maturity. And the reason why I'm talking about this and wanted to share it with you is because this has actually been a topic that we've been exploring in some of our meetings and leadership meetings that we have, just assessing. It's one thing to have knowledge and to have intelligence, but on the flip side of that is, how are you using that in your interactions with people? And that's a lot of times where that emotional intelligence comes from, is your interpersonal skills. You guys have probably heard that before, where it's how you interact with people on a daily basis. Okay, so in general, emotional intelligence is the ability to understand, use, and manage your own emotions in positive ways, to manage and relieve stress, communicate effectively, empathize with others, overcome challenges, diffuse conflict, understand other people's thoughts, opinions, and perspectives. So why am I talking about this? Again, we've talked about it in some of our leadership conversations that we've had, but I really want to use this as an encouragement to you because there's been a lot of studies and research lately that have shown that businesses and companies and organizations are valuing this and people's higher emotional intelligence over their actual IQ level or their actual intelligence and knowledge. And they have found that people who have higher emotional intelligence, they're easier to work with. They're easier to collaborate with. They own their mistakes. They recognize when someone might be, giving them constructive criticism. They know how to receive that. They know how to give that without getting defensive. People with high emotional intelligence are honest. They are trustworthy. They're people that other people want to be around. And so businesses are saying, yeah, this is good. This works for an organization to get stuff done, is bringing in people that have higher emotional intelligence. They can teach them how to do the job duties, the tasks, the responsibilities, but this is much more tied to who you are as a person, as your character, as your traits, what your natural tendencies are. So there's probably people that you can think of as I explain this that you know who has it, but you probably know for sure in your life who doesn't have a high emotional intelligence. Whether that's friends or family members or people in the media, celebrities, whatever it is, sometimes it's easier to think of the opposite. But there's people in my life who have definitely, as I've learned more about this, I've recognized, oh, that person probably has a higher emotional intelligence, just the way that they interact with me and the way that they interact with other people. So I've been very intrigued by this because it does seem to ring true in a lot of what we discuss within our leadership and the way that we are trying to build our organization and to build Cornerstone. I can teach you parking, but this stuff is what matters more than that, is how you are as a person. There's a quote from an article, a quote that I found that Google research found EQ matters more than IQ or technical competence for becoming a successful manager. Research out of Columbia suggests the return on investment on working to improve your EQ is far higher than that for working to get smarter. And a Yale study showed that those with high EQ make dramatically better decisions. So some pretty powerful reminders of how important it is. There are some questions that you can ask yourself to sort of gauge where you are at on your emotional intelligence. There are a handful of free emotional intelligence quizzes online. I would love to send you one if you're interested. I always take them with a grain of salt because the same with like intelligence, unless you're doing a legitimate one, you always kind of question the validity of it, but it'll at least give you a good sense of where you land and what where you're falling on the scale there. But these are some of the questions they ask. Just like, how do you handle stress? How do you react when there's conflict? Whether it's at work, whether it's at home, what's your, default mentality or reaction to those situations? Have you ever had to try and change those behaviors? So a lot of that indicates where you would land in your emotional intelligence category. What are some of the behaviors that other people have that make you angry or annoyed, and how do you react to them? So it's almost scary to think about when you honestly answer these type of questions, like if you're very truthful with yourself. But it is also a very good guide to kind of gauge on some things that you can work on. There's a lot of resources online. Just Google EQ. You'll be bombarded by lots of articles and videos and stuff that you can watch to learn more about it if you're interested. So I do have a handful of resources that I use when we go through this in Path to Leadership and some other training. So I'd love to send that to you if you are interested in it. Feel free to email me at hr@cornerstoneparking.com and I can certainly send that to you. Any questions on EQ? Anything to add? Any observations or anything anyone wants to share about that? Thanks for joining, guys. All right, your lovely, amazing, awesome managers put together a little shout out video for each of you, or I should say for each of your teams, not you individually. So we're gonna play that. After that, we will have a Q&A session where you guys can ask anything that we talked about, or anything that we didn't talk about. Mario and Jake are gonna join for that. So we'll watch the video and do Q&A.
Hi there, I'm Terry, the valet manager for Cornerstone Parking Group, and I need to give a big shout out for my frontline operations team and assistant managers that valet and our Welcome Center screeners for the Fairview Hospital systems. You are the first point of contacts that our patients and visitors see when they enter the hospital and when they exit. You all encounter different situations on a daily basis and handle it with the best customer service and all that Cornerstone expects from its employees, and you rock it. So a big shout out to all of you. We appreciate you. We thank you. We are glad you are with us.
What's up guys, I'm Corey. I'm the event manager here at Cornerstone. I just wanted to give a shout out to my entire team. Doing a great job this past year at events. I also want to give a shout out to my assistant managers, Tommy and Josh. They're always showing up on time, great attitudes, do things the right way. I also want to give a shout out to any valets or anyone who isn't technically involved in events that still helped us with events. That was a big help for us, so appreciate you guys.
I want to give a huge shout out to the entire North Region Ops crew. Some of the highlights this year, Aberdeen, we had some great comments. They were going to cancel our contract due to some financial hardships that the hospital's having. But instead, this level of service that we provide and the staff that we have there, everybody, as far as their staff, came in and let them know what that service means to the hospital. So they decided to keep us. So a huge shout out to the Aberdeen crew. Huge shout out to the special events team this year. We had a lot of events, the most that we've ever had here in the Twin Cities. So a huge shout out to that team. And then the Fairview team. A huge shout out to the entire Fairview team, really coming together and working through the ambassador process and what that's gonna look like moving forward. So a huge shout out to them as well. But overall, thank you to the entire North Region.
shout out to the UMMC parking office. Our team, I really appreciate our team and whatever we do. They've always been very attentive and always accommodating with everyone in the office. So I really appreciate all the work that you guys have been doing, and it's always been amazing. You guys always done everything. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I would like to give a big shout out to the shuttle crew in Minneapolis in the North region for all the help they put in, all the extra time they put in, and for all the extra hard work they put in. You are exemplary, and you are why Cornerstone excels at what we do. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I am grateful for each and every one of you.
This year has been a really big challenge with a lot of our teams. We've gone through the coming out of COVID and ramped up a lot of our operations. The shuttle team has grown. The ambassador team has gotten defined into a new role. The valet team, we got more visitors now, and so the operations are just growing, and this year has been a big challenge in many ways. Including some strikes that the parking offices have had to deal with. So I just want to thank everybody from the M Health and in general the North Region recruitment. Danny has done a really good job giving us people to do this. So I appreciate the whole team and everybody else in the North Region.
Thank you, everyone. Jake and Marla, maybe? Oh, hi. You were back there,
Well,
so.
that's all right. We moved a little swiftly.
Do you want to like? Yes.
Just wondering if anybody has any questions or anything specific, HR, operations, or North Region that we can help respond to. That's what we're here for. So.
And just to preface this, if you think you're the only one with a specific question, it's probably not the case. You know, a lot of people have probably been thinking through a lot of similar aspects in their roles. So really, this is a great opportunity. These individuals are here to help the growth of everybody in the company. Jenny really did a great job of outlining some of those reasons why we like to grow from within. So this is a great opportunity to maybe eliminate some of those questions you might have to continue to help you focus on purely just doing the best job you can without having other distractions that might be on your mind. So this is a great forum for that. Anyone want to start us off here?
Who's going to open it up?
Tommy, do you have any questions?
We ever going to operate in Duluth?
No, I like it.
Here.
Okay, good.
No questions?
About any topics you guys want to talk about, or ladies? We answered all of it today, huh?
No. You don't have anything today? Usually you're good for questions.
You're opening up a cannonball there. I'm just kidding.
I think we just want to thank everybody. I know there was just very few minutes of comments and what we were able to place and do it for the time that we have allowed today. But everybody does a really good job. We've had a lot of growth. We've from 100 employees to I think 280 now that Jenny showed on the screen. We're all doing our best, and I think we're adjusting to the changes that we've had, so we appreciate all of you.